Hi everyone. The course that I'm going to assess is ACTE 630 that I took with Ollie in May 2016. So it was about a year and a half ago. First, standard covers course overview and introduction. So this course was really nice. I believe it was the first course I took in the endorsement. I think it has to be the first course. So it was really nice because it really had everything laid out nicely about what I needed to do to get started. If you look in the course overview here, it pretty much explains exactly where you need to go to find material to get started with the course, where to go if you need help, um, you know, and everything that would be important for a first time student taking an online course. Another spot where there was some information about how to get started was in one of the first announcements that was posted, the welcome post. So I go down here, and this was a little bit more informal about how to get started and where you needed to go and where the help discussion forum is and basically the basics of D2L right here, which was really helpful. While I'm here, this also covers 1.2. It kind of explains the structure of the course, when the modules will be released, when they're due by, and another spot where the structure and purpose of the course was outlined was in the syllabus. So if we go back and click on the link where it says syllabus, it pretty much outlines everything, the structure of the course, the purpose of this course. We have the catalog description. Here are some course goals and the overview of the course and what to expect with each module, how many points everything is worth, and the grading criteria. So that pretty much sums up the structure and purpose of the course. For the standards, I'm skipping ahead here, for the course netiquette. So if we go back to the home page, on the right-hand side, there is a spot when you scroll down on the right where it says expectations. There's a link for course netiquette that outlines how students should be interacting online. So that's all found right here. The standards of academic integrity, that also is underneath this expectations link, I believe. If I go back to the home page, there's the student code of conduct, the Millersville policy for responsible use. There is also a spot in the syllabus, if we go back here, talking about the academic integrity or academic honesty policy, which is right here. Instructor provides a self-introduction. So this one, I knew that Ollie had introduced himself in this course, but I forgot where it was. So he did one of his introductions in Module 1. So if we come over here, similarly to what he did for this module also, he posted his own introduction. So if we can find that, here's Ollie's online overview. So he introduced himself. So in that course, we had a presentation instead of a video that we could have posted. The last element to the first standard is prerequisite knowledge. And for some reason, I couldn't really find anything that was a solid piece of evidence for this. The thing I could come closest to was in the syllabus. Basically, the first sentence in the catalog description, students will develop use in current technology, and using methodologies and so forth. So basically, that pretty much you can assume that your prerequisites are that you are going to need to know how to use technology. But aside from that, I didn't really see too much about prerequisite knowledge before taking this course. Okay, the course learning objectives and outcomes, that was also in the syllabus. Those were the course goals. And for the module unit level learning objectives, that was really nicely laid out within each module, similarly to this course. So if we just click on one of these, and all of the modules were set up like this, it has the objectives, the overview, the requirements. So you can see the objectives are there, and clearly they are measurable, and that's how it was in all of these modules. The content in this course wasn't necessarily aligned to a state standard because it's not a high school course. However, it does have content that you would expect on a master's level course. Learning objectives are appropriately designed for the level. Like I just said, yes, they meet the expectations of a master's level course, and they are clearly stated in each module, like I have already pointed out. And instructions on how students can meet those requirements are found right underneath where the objectives are listed in the requirement section. Everything's listed out nicely, step by step, so students know exactly what is expected of them in order to reach those objectives listed. The next standard is assessment and measurement, and types of assessments in this course differed from module to module. So if we go back to the home page and look at one of the other modules, go to module 2. So in this module, we were supposed to be discussing how children are impacted by the use of technology, identify different forms of online education, and examine types of students who choose to enroll. So the assessment for that was we needed to go to the discussion board and foster a discussion about the kids today. And we also had to write a 3-page paper. So there was 2 different assessments to assess the objectives listed, and they were using technology. For example, the Google Docs we had to use for this assessment. So going along with this, the expectations for successfully completing these assessments, like I said, are all outlined in the requirements. Everything is provided for you of exactly what you need to do. There's tutorials to help you, and so you know exactly what the professor is looking for. Another spot where there were clearly outlined expectations is if you go down again on the right-hand side under expectations, the discussion board expectations, since a discussion is one of the assessments, it's clearly outlined exactly what needs to go into that discussion to earn the points and complete the discussion successfully. Something I really enjoyed about this class and all of the classes I've taken so far is that within the assessments and the coursework, you really do have the opportunity to reflect on all of the information provided to you and kind of connect it to your experiences. So the assessments that we completed in this course really did allow for you to analyze what you still needed to do as a student and as an educator to complete the objectives that were listed out. And there were definitely multiple methods of assessment strategies in each module. So like I said, in module 2, we had to write a paper on Google Docs and complete a discussion board post. If we go to another module, there was, we had another discussion board post, and what else did we have to do in this one? We used a screencast-o-matic. So you can see that in each module there was different types of assessments and that we were able to complete. It wasn't just always the same thing. The next standard is instructional materials, and I'm going to go through this one fairly quickly because they are pretty much all connected. So the instructional materials need to contribute to the achievement of the learning objectives. So if we go to a different module, we'll go to module 7. Some of the materials that we used, we read a blog about Edpuzzle and the flipped classroom, and then the resource or the tool that we used to actually apply our knowledge and what we learned about was Edpuzzle, which allowed us to kind of get the feel of what it's like to create a flipped lesson. Also, all of the resources were appropriately cited. You can just see from, I think it was in the last module I was just in, module 6. I didn't see anything cited there. In module 6, listed out, you can see that the textbook was cited exactly the way that it needed to be, and all just throughout the lesson there, everything was cited appropriately. The next standard is learner interaction and engagement. So learning activities promote the achievement of the stated learning objectives. So that is very closely related to the instructional materials. So I think that has already been covered. Learning activities provide opportunities for interaction and support active learning. So this one definitely is covered by all of the discussion posts and responses that were required in this course. So similar to the course that we're currently taking, one of the expectations usually for each module, there was at least one discussion post that we had to share, and then we had to also respond to two of our classmates. So that definitely promoted active learning and interacting with our classmates. There are standards for instructor responsiveness and availability. So that goes back actually to the syllabus, I believe. I know that all of the information also is on the left-hand side here, just briefly stated, email, phone, all of that. I believe Ali had also sent out a general statement about not being as available on weekends, just like he did here. But every time I reached out, there was a fairly quick response. Yes, as you can see here, this is where he said he had limited contact or email over the weekend, but we were well aware of that ahead of time. The element in this standard was that requirements for student interaction are clearly articulated. This was also already discussed. It's over in the Netiquette. You can find how students should be interacting, as well as in the discussion board expectations. It lists out exactly how students should be responding appropriately online. The course technology absolutely supported the learning objectives as well. Like I had already stated before, all of the modules, usually if there was a tool that we were exploring and learning more about and how it can be used in the classroom, we then were assessed using that tool. So I feel as though the core tools and media definitely support the learning. Sometimes we had videos, sometimes we had to read articles, sometimes we listened to things. You can see here, just in this module, there's a quick video on how to use a resource, and then we had to actually use it for ourselves. All of the tools that we were expected to use, we could readily access. Everything was right in the modules. You can see here there's links for pretty much everything. So it was definitely readily accessible to use the different resources and tools and technology that were implemented into the course. Next standard is learner support. So the course identifies policies and services for all students. So if we go back to the home page, you can see again under the expectations, there's different policies for all students and expectations there. The course instructions articulate or link to clear description of the technical support. So some of the technical support we have, there was a help discussion board in this course that we could access if there were any questions. There's also a spot if you go to university and click on resources for student success. There's actually a lot in here that covers a lot of the standards. There's all about the academic policy, which was covered in a standard. There's all of these different resources to help get started with D2L and different technology. And here's some technical assistant resources, which is also part of this learner support standard. And there's more on-campus support and all these different links to get you there. I also know that within the modules, there was other tutorials and information to help you get started with different resources if you were unfamiliar with them. And finally, the last standard, accessibility. I am not 100% sure about this one. I do know that I looked for some of the videos to see if they had closed captioning available, and you can see that on this one, it does. And also the tutorial below it also has closed captioning available. So you can see that is an option. One other thing that I did find, if you click in university and policies, if you scroll down, there is a PDF about the ADA reasonable accommodation and access. Not much information is provided, but it is there, and the resources and who to contact. Overall, I think this course did a great job holding up to the QM standards.